Hey everybody, so every NHL team somewhere in their history has gone out and made a mid-season trade deadline trade, signing free agents that are veterans later in their careers and either taking a risk or in some cases not, and some of them leading directly to helping them win a cup, as is the first guy is definitely. And so this is my top 15 of those guys, top 15 players that became Montreal Canadiens late in their careers to varying degrees of success. But these are, to me, the top 15 guys that did that. And we're going to get right into it. And that's right here at Talking Habs, where all things are dedicated. Are dedicated to the Habs and all things hockey. I forget what I used to say. Anyway, we're just going to get right into it. So there you go. Not cutting that out. No edits. Okay, number 15 is a guy that came here. This was one of the worst trades in Montreal's history. I liked the guy before he was here, but I didn't realize he was on a downswing. Didn't follow him enough. And we gave up a lot for this guy, and he was horrible. And that's Scott Gomes. So Scott Gomes was traded in June 2009, and we gave up Chris Higgins and Ryan McDonough and two other players that are no consequence. But still, four guys, 4-1, and definitely what a bust that was. Scott Gomes, that season where he had 2 goals, 9 assists, I think only in 38 games, he had to stop playing because he was too stressed, if you remember, something like that. Just not good. And he just couldn't score. He lost his scoring touch, and I don't think he ever really recovered it. And 196 games, 21 goals, 87 assists, 108 points in 26 playoff games, 2 goals, 16 assists, 18 points. Not a good experience. It wasn't a good experience for him or us. Next up, number 14. A guy, as a rookie in Boston, had a really great season, and I don't think he ever did that again. He went to Edmonton. I mean, decent guy. Came to Montreal, and it seemed like he lost his scoring touch completely. So that's Sergei Samsonov. We signed him as a free agent in July of 2006. He spent 1 season in Montreal, 63 games. He put up 9 goals, 17 assists for 26 points. That's Sergei Samsonov. Now, for you younger guys, I guess you don't know Sergei Samsonov. He was this little guy that had a lot of talent in Boston, and he did pretty good. Traded to Edmonton, still did pretty good there. And then came to Montreal, and it was like nothing. Very frustrating guy to have in the lineup. I remember personally just frustrated with this guy every night that he just couldn't finish on the plays. Just couldn't. He lost his scoring touch. Next up, French player. Spent most of his career in Philadelphia. When he came here, he was kind of hurting. I think either his back, there was something wrong with him. It was kind of a risky bit, but we signed him for next to nothing, if I'm correct. It was a risky move, though, because of his injuries. And that's Daniel Briere, a French player. Everyone loved him here in Quebec. Great for Philadelphia. There was rumors to get him for many years. And finally we did, but it was too late. Free agent signing in 2013. He played 69 games, put up 13 goals, 12 assists, 25 points. And in the playoffs, 16 games, 3 goals, 4 assists, 7 points. But I do want to say he was key in winning a series. Don't remember the details, but he was key. A goal or 2 he scored was key for that series. So that's all we got out of him. But he was, again, another frustrating player, but mostly because of the injuries. And he just couldn't get anything going. So, yeah, disappointing. Next up at number 12, very intelligent guy. I believe he went to MIT. I think he was a French guy from Quebec, but I think he was. Rookie season, 102 points on the wing with Cam Neely and Adam Oates for Boston, and that was his best season of his career. And he just, by the time he got here, he was a fourth-line player, and you can tell by his points: 212 games, 19 goals, 54 assists, 73 points, 23 playoff games, 1 goal, 5 assists, 6 points. We got him in a trade from Phoenix for future considerations, which a lot of times future considerations, you trade the guy back to the team you got him from, or a draft pick or something like that, or just a junior prospect, or a minor prospect, something like that. But that's what we got him. Yeah, likable guy. Liked having him here as far as him and his personality, but just we thought we're getting more. I know as a fan I was. Next up at number 11 is a guy that Montreal was kind of after for 2, 3, 4 years, something like that. He was rumored to Montreal was after him. Montreal would sign him, and it never happened. And they finally got him. That's Alex Tanguay in a trade with Calgary on June 8th, 2008. No, June 2008. I don't know if it was on the 8th. For a first and a second round pick. So not much, didn't give up much for him, and it's a guy that we wanted. Kind of, I think a little late in his career. Not like he went on to play a little bit more, but I don't know what happened. You'd think a guy like that who said that he would dream to play in Montreal, we finally got him, and we were after him for a while. And he only spent one season, wouldn't re-sign with Montreal. Was his numbers? 50 games. I know he was injured a little that season, like my voice. 16 goals, 25 assists, 41 points in 2 playoff games. No goals, 1 assist, 1 point. Very disappointing for a guy that Montreal was really after. And I thought, oh, well, we finally got him. This should be good. And it just wasn't. Next up, number 10. Here's a guy. He played for Buffalo, also a French guy. And really happy to get him. And what marred his time here was an injury. He took a horrible, brutal cut to the forearm from a skate that cut through a tendon, I believe. And he was never really the same. It took him a long time to recover. Had to go back to the AHL and play a little bit before he came back up. And it's too bad because this guy could put up some points in his day. And that's Donald Odette. Donald Odette. We had his kid here the last couple of years. I forget his first name, but Donald Odette, a good player, mostly with Buffalo. I think we got him from Dallas, though. Yeah, happy to get him here, and then that injury happened pretty early on when we got him, and he was just never the same after. A trade with Dallas in 2001-2 to get him for Benny Brunet and Marty Brzezinski. So we gave up pretty good to get him, and just that injury, and it's not his fault. I mean, you know, but that injury really screwed him over. 90 games, 15 goals, 22 assists for 37 points. 12 playoff games, 6 goals, 4 assists, 10 points. So, like I said, you can't blame him for it, but disappointing in that the injury really screwed up. But he should have had a good run here with Montreal. We were really happy to get him. At least I was as a fan. Number 9, a guy that spent, I think, most of his time with, I want to say Calgary and Vancouver, and that's Trevor Linden. Captain material, but we got him late. And I think when we got him, he was not 100% healthy. And I'm not sure what happened, but you think a guy like Linden, he spent, I think, 2 seasons plus part of 1, something like that. Not a lot, 107 games, so not long. We got him from the Islanders in May of 1999 for a first-round pick later that season, or that year. And in 107 games, 25 goals, 38 assists, 63 points. No playoff games because that was the years we were sucky. And he went on, surprisingly, when he left here, because I would have thought when he left here, we were thinking he was kind of hurting, and I didn't think he'd do much. But he went on to, I think, 3 more teams, and the last one was back to the Canucks, where he stayed like 4 or 5 years or something like that and played. And that's kind of shocked me. So Trevor Linden. I think that was Linden. I know there's a couple of guys here, and for some reason now I think Linden might have ended. No, he went on, and it was a surprise because I thought he just wasn't healthy when he was here. So we'll just go to the next one. Next one's a goalie that literally won a playoff series against us, and that's Andy Moog. Andy Moog, when he was with Edmonton, played a I don't know if they called it a preliminary round, but it was a best 3 out of 5, and they beat us in 3, and I think it was mainly because of Andy Moog. Andy Moog was just lights out in nets, and we couldn't score. And they were the Oilers of the 80s, and yeah. So Andy Moog came here as a free agent in 97-98, and he played 1 season, that was his last. 42 games. 18, 17, and 5. with a 249 goals against and a 905 save percentage. So really good numbers. Can't blame him on his numbers. And yeah, he retired after that. And it was nice to have Andy Moog. I liked the guy, even though he beat us. He beat us that series. It was mainly because of him. So Andy Moog was here for the one season. Next up at number 7 is a guy that I have no idea why he didn't stay here longer. French guy, captain of his team, elite scoring player, elite forward, and he didn't stay. And he was traded away, so I don't know what happened, but there was something happened there that we as fans never found out. And that's Pierre Turgeon. We got him in a trade with the Islanders during the lockout of 94-95. We got Vladimir Malkov with him, which was he turned out to be a good defenseman. I didn't think he was. I thought he was more of a goon, but when he got here, he played pretty good hockey. And we gave up Matt Schneider and Kirk Muller. Kirk Muller back there. Yeah, Matt Schneider and Kirk Muller. In 104 games, 50 goals, 77 assists, 127 points, and they traded him. He's a French guy from Quebec. He was going to be the captain. If he wasn't, he was the captain. Something happened. And I never, as a fan, I never heard what happened. If anybody knows it, in the comment section, I'd love to hear. I don't know what happened, but something happened there. He should have stayed longer. Next up, guy I really liked, even though he was a Leaf, and that's Doug Gilmour. Also came in later in his career, and I believe he left here kind of injured, like problems with injuries, but went on to play a few more years after, which surprised me. Free agent signing in 2001. I believe he stayed for 2 seasons, played 161 games, 21 goals, 50 assists, 71 points. So the numbers weren't great. Doug Gilmour was a good point producer in his prime. 12 playoff games, 4 goals, 6 assists, 10 points. But it was nice to have a guy like Doug Gilmour. Doug Gilmour's the kind of guy, you know, every team should have a veteran on their roster at some point like that. He's a leader. He's a nice guy. No controversies earlier in his career, but not later. And just a great guy that other players, young players, should kind of see and, you know, have as a role model. So Doug Gilmour. Next up is a current guy. Our captain, Shea Weber. Shea Weber came here in a trade in 2016 for a very famous trade for PK Subban. We still talk about it. People still argue who won that trade. I think right now it's pretty obvious that Montreal won that trade, and we'll see where that goes. Shea Weber, 162 games since he's been here. He's had injury problems. 37 goals, 54 assists for 91 points. 6 games in the playoffs, 1 goal, 2 assists for 3 points. He's been, in 3 seasons, he's been really great. I'm totally happy with Shea Weber. Great leader, guy you'd skate through a wall for. And yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm glad we have Shea Weber. And I don't know if he'll win a cup here, but he's number 5 on the list. Number 4 is a guy that Montreal fell in love with. He didn't re-sign because of money and ended up going to Ottawa. We got him at the trade deadline for nothing. So that's, I guess I'll put it up on the board. Alex Kovalev. We got him for Joseph Bellet at the trade deadline in 2004. Like that's a steal and a half because he went on to play, I think, 4 or 5 seasons here. 314 games, 103 goals, 161 assists, 264 points, 33 playoff games, 17 goals, 14 assists, 31 points. Alex Kovalev gave us very exciting hockey. Only problem with him is he didn't come to play every game. So there were games where you were very frustrated with him that where is he? He's not playing. But he made it up in the games that he was there for because the guy was like uber talented. And yeah, Montreal loved him and he decided not to sign here. I think because of a contract dispute over like $1 million Like, he loved Montreal, said he loved Montreal. Montreal loved him, went to Ottawa. Made no sense to me. Next up is a guy we should have, never mind get him late in his career, we should have drafted him. Instead of drafting Doug Wickenheiser, and just by saying that, people should know that Denis Savard. Denis Savard came here when he was old, and it was a little late in his career, and he was on the downswing, and he didn't have the abilities that he had when he was younger, and we could have drafted him instead of Doug Wickenheiser first overall in 1980. He won one cup here. Oh, let's see, the trade was with Chicago, obviously, for Chris Chelios. So we gave up Chris Chelios, who Montreal was judging to be near the end of his career. Don't know why, because Chelios played like till he was 45. So he went on to many more years and cups, and bad trade. I love Denis Savard, bad trade. I have his hockey card signed. Just bad trade. Bad trade. He won one cup here in 93, and he was behind the bench because he was injured for the last few games, but he played during the playoffs. 210 games, 72 goals, 107 assists for 179 points. Pretty good numbers. 38 games in the playoffs, 5 goals, 25 assists, 30 points. But Denis Savard should have been drafted, not signed or traded for later in his career. Next up, another guy that won the cup after coming here, and very key part of that, and that is Kirk Muller. Yeah, I don't want to put the Kirk part. I just want the Muller part, Rick. Kirk Muller, one of my favorite Habs. I used to draft him in my playoff pool, not playoff pools, in my hockey pools, 3-4 years in a row. Always put up good points. Always just great. Kirk has worked. Never took a night off. Love the guy. Not the best power play coach, but he was a great player. We got him via trade with New Jersey for Stéphane Richer and Tom Chorosky back in September of 91. Like I said, he won one cup here in 93, 267 games played, 104 goals, 143 assists for 247 points. Very good numbers. 38 games in the playoffs, 20 goals, 12 assists, 32 points. Kirk Muller, like I said, love the guy. Just not the best power play coach, but still love the guy. And brings us to the next guy. Next guy's picture is hanging on my wall. So if you ever see any videos where it's a different angle, he's on the wall. He came here, I think, he came here in 71, and I believe they won the cup in 71. If I'm wrong, it was, 71. I believe they won the cup. He won 2 cups here. And he was in the midseason, traded for Mickey Redmond, and I don't remember who else. Nobody big. And but Redmond was an up-and-coming rookie. Frank Mahovlich, great numbers. Came here, never had under a point a game. It was always point plus a game, so that's in 4 seasons. Put up amazing numbers. Won 2 cups here with Montreal. 263 games played. 129 goals. 181 assists. 310 points. Awesome. 49 playoff games. 27 goals. 31 assists for 58 points. I mean, that's just awesome. That is a guy that plays better when the game is on the line, when the game has more meaning to it. And Frank Mahovlich, right there on my wall, great hockey player. A subscriber sent that to me. Great hockey player. He was here with his brother Pete, and they were both great. Pete, for me, was an underrated guy. I always underrated him. I just thought he had this goony look on his face all the time. So I underrated him, but he was a great hockey player as well. But Frank came here and won 2 cups, and he was a big part of that. So there you go. That's my top 15 players that came here late in their careers to varying degrees of success, to varying degrees of fans loving them. And, yeah, there you go. If you liked it, give a thumbs up. Appreciate that. While you're on the way down there to do that, give me all the comments. Tell me what's wrong with my list. Tell me who you would have in there, who you would take out of there. I'm curious to know. Yeah, that's it. Oh, also, while you're down there, if you haven't already, subscribe, ring that notifications bell. It's going to get you your daily fix of Blue, Blanc, Rouge right here at Talking Habs. Everybody, please stay safe. Wash your hands a lot. Use sanitizer if you have to. Mask when you go out. Very important. I don't go out without one. And just stay safe, stay home as much as you can, and let's make it to the other side. Thanks for watching. Peace out, everybody. See you next video.